The Trump administration is preparing to surveil Americans on a secret watch list thanks to a new directive that's known as NSPM-7. It's a catchy name. So that's according to reporting from independent journalist and friend of the show, Ken Klippenstein. His work over at Substack is fantastic. Please check it out. Now we'll get to the latest update on the story in just a second. But first, if you're unfamiliar with NSPM-7, here's what it states. The United States requires a national strategy to investigate and disrupt networks, entities, and organizations that foment political violence so that law enforcement can intervene in criminal conspiracies before they result in violent political acts. I mean, considering the political violence that's been carried out fairly recently, it doesn't seem like law enforcement is doing a great job with that. But nonetheless, NSPM-7 instructs the Department of Justice to assign this task to the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Forces, or JTTFs, of which there are about 200, okay? Now here's what NSPM-7 outlines as indicators of violence. You ready?
Oh boy.
All right, so buckle up. Anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism.
How is that violent?
Anti-Christianity.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, that's.
I'm an atheist. Does that make me anti-Christian, anti-Muslim, anti-Jewish, anti-Hindu? What does that mean? And how is that violence?
Who's the arbiter of what's considered?
I thought the left was saying that words are violence. Now all of a sudden, the right wing in MAGA, and I don't think it is actually MAGA. I think it's the Trump team. Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Right, and the Trump team is all of a sudden words are violence. As long as, let me guess, as long as you say it against Donald Trump, right? Then all of a sudden they're violence.
To that point, another thing, another bullet point is support for the overthrow of the United States government. Now look, I never bought the argument that the Second Amendment is in place in order to help Americans overthrow a tyrannical government because they've got drones and tanks and bombs. Like, I don't think your firearms, regardless of how intense they are, will effectively fight back against a tyrannical government. But nonetheless, put that aside. In a democracy, if the government is essentially violating or infringing on our rights, we the people are supposed to be able to get rid of that government.
I mean, look, the only thing I can imagine that would be like meaning physical overthrow of the government is like, for example, if you bum rush the Capitol. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Anyways, but putting that past stuff aside, guys, think about how broad that could be.
It's so broad, yeah.
If you mean actually go, okay, all right, we're gonna assassinate the president and the Congress members and then some bunch of Maoists or fascists or whatever are gonna take over the government, okay, yeah, then that's an overthrow of the government. But if you mean like, oh, I don't like the current party in charge or the current president in charge or the current politician in charge, and that's overthrowing the US government, that's just an act to protect the feelings of politicians.
Also on the list, extremism on migration, extremism on race.
Who defines extremism?
And extremism on gender.
This is so dumb.
Hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family.
And what are the traditional American views on family?
Man, wife, children.
Okay.
And if it's anything outside, well, I mean, look, the whole point here, look, I don't like the statements that sometimes come from left-wing or leftist organizations where they're like, destroy the nuclear family. Like, just shut up. How about you shut up? How about you live your life and allow others to live theirs, okay?
And by the way, of course, as Anna said a million times, it also goes vice versa.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Like if you want to be single, be single. If you don't want to have kids, don't have kids.
Exactly.
It's not anybody's business. If you're an American, the real American values is get out of my life.
Exactly, 100%. I totally agree with you on that. And yeah, so hostility toward those who hold traditional American views on morality.
Oh, come on.
Let's talk about morality for a second. Let's talk about morality. We're talking about a government that is taking out debt to the tune of tens of billions of dollars to then gift it to a foreign government that's slaughtering innocent children. You want to talk to me about morality? Come on.
And by the way, Republicans are in charge now, so they'll say that, oh, what we mean by morality in America and et cetera is kiss the ass of every Republican politician, otherwise you're not moral enough. But here I'll interpret it as you gotta be straight, you gotta be this, you gotta be that. Okay, but what happens when Democrats are in charge? they will then turn around and say, no, morality means you can't be racist, you can't be sexist, you can't be this, you can't be that. And extremism on race and gender, well, eye the beholder, right? So one side could say that equality for trans blah, blah, blah is extremism. And the other side can say, what do you mean? You guys are racist. That's massively extreme on race, right? Yeah. That's it, we're locking all of you guys up. We got a surveillance state, Big Brother's here. And you know what? The Republicans passed it. So you wanted it, now you got it. Welcome to the tyrannical government.
Maybe we're being unfair, and luckily we have Stephen Miller here to give us some clarity on this, so we don't needlessly panic about it or get paranoid about this. Stephen Miller referred to NSPM 7 as an all-of-government effort to dismantle left-wing terrorism.
Okay, so I'll guarantee you two things about this. Okay, so number one, has absolutely nothing to do with terrorism. This is an attack on two groups. One is the left wing. So if you're on the right, by the way, and you cheer about that, no, you can do political attacks, verbal or rhetorical attacks, great, that's America, right? You start doing un-American laws like this where you're limiting speech, you're limiting people's freedom of thought, getting into people's, oh, you're extreme on this, I don't like your morality, right?
Yep.
We're all gonna judge one another. Okay, that's an anti-American position, and it used to be an anti-conservative position. Conservatives used to be for freedom of speech and against tyrannical government. So of course they're going after the left wing. I'm super curious to see how independents and right wing are going to react to this atrocious un-American proposal. And then the other folks that they're going to go after is, of course, anyone who criticizes Israel.
Of course. And I mean, they're already doing that. Gavin Newsom, by the way, literally just signed a new law. It's going to be in effect in California, where criticizing the foreign government of Israel amounts to anti-Semitism.
Wait.
He's a Democrat.
Wait, I thought Stephen Miller and Gavin Newsom were at loggerheads.
Well, as we've said multiple times on this show, on a lot of the big issues that matter the most, there seems to be quite a bit of agreement with both sides of the political aisle.
I wonder
the
when
people in power, of course.
I wonder when they agree. Oh, when the donors of both parties tell them to serve the donor class. Yeah. That's when somehow Gavin Newsom and Stephen Miller agree.
Okay, so let me present the rest of this to you because we're not done yet. That was just what was kind of already in place, and Ken Klippenstein's reporting is a bit of an update, a bit of a development. So according to Ken Klippenstein's latest report, the Threat Screening Center is this entity in charge of monitoring Americans for indicators of violence, okay? He explains that prior to President Trump's second term, the Threat Screening Center's terrorist watch list was mostly made up of foreigners. The 6,000 or so Americans on the list were predominantly Muslim, which is unsurprising.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh? Targeting Muslims who might criticize Israel. That is so shocking.
And that's according to an anonymous, well-connected intelligence official who spoke to Ken Klippenstein for this story. So those individuals were suspected of planning or wanting to plan lone wolf attacks. That's what they're alleging.
Wink, wink.
Okay, so look, we don't know.
I don't believe them at all.
Okay,
just be super
fair.
clear.
That's fair. We don't know who they are. We don't know exactly what they're being accused of.
There's no chance it's true. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so what about the rest of us? Is Ken Klippenstein or any other American dissenter on the watch list? The official asks rhetorically. No, and there really is no legal way for such a person to be surveilled, let alone watch listed without legal predicate. That is, without evidence that the person has committed or is about to commit a crime. You might think that about to commit is a loophole, but up until NSPM 7, it wasn't, until now. So, thought crime. Like, look, Palantir, of course, is developing and has been developing technology to essentially root out crime before it happens, the thoughts of committing crime. Here you have another example, about to commit a crime loophole. Klippenstein explains that thanks to previous administrations, the United States government, the US government's definition of terrorism has, as we all know, become very broad. It is widely used for an array of things that don't really count as terrorism. The Threat Screening Center was once known as the Terrorist Screening Center, but the Trump administration changed the name in March. Per their announcement, As national security threats continue to evolve, the TSC has expanded beyond terrorism watch listing and screening to address other national security threats. With expanding and growing threats, we are reflecting that in our name, the name change is a signal to the American people that the TSC is a powerful tool that can be used to fight all national security threats, including my political opponents, I'm sure. FBI Director Kash Patel stated, we're expanding the watch list. This change will assist our law enforcement and intelligence community partners as we all work together toward the goal of crushing violent crime within our borders. I wish I can go back and show you early aughts era TYT and how the warnings existed way back then, when after 9/11, after the Patriot Act, after all of the terror that was being rained on random Muslims, both in this country and outside of this country, this was all gonna come back to bite American citizens in the ass. And here you have a government that's being very clear about how they intend to use this entire system to surveil and go after left-wing political opponents.
Yeah, so guys, remember at the same time, there's Larry Ellison's comment about how, look, we've got Gaza where we're beginning to do surveillance of every single person and we're gonna track all of them. And then of course, we're gonna help America with that same technology. And what did he say, quote, citizens will be on their best behavior because we are constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Is that the kind of country you guys wanna live in? Because I don't.
So, Big Brother now has a name. It's Larry Ellison. And so, and by the way, Department of State, the State Department Secretary of State is of course Marco Rubio, and he could be critical in all of this, but it's a good thing Larry Ellison did. Oh wait, I'm hearing Larry Ellison did give him $5 million. Yes, he gave him $5 million to a super PAC when he was running for president, and then reported back to the Israeli ambassador that Marco Rubio has been properly vetted. Okay, but you on the other hand have not been properly vetted. You're a normal American and you're having unacceptable thoughts to Israel, unacceptable thoughts to Stephen Miller, unacceptable thoughts to Donald Trump, and your thoughts will be recorded and all of your actions will be recorded. And if you seem anti-American, anti-capitalist, anti-morality, anti-values, anti-family, I don't know, being alive, whatever, anti-anything that the authorities don't like, you'll no longer have freedom of speech, you'll no longer have any of your constitutional rights, and you'll no longer have America. Instead, you'll have complete occupation of this country.
I just have one question, just for clarity's sake. Is it moral to bang a porn star when your wife is pregnant? And is it moral to question that?
I mean, so I'm sure that they're gonna investigate Donald Trump first. Oh, I'm hearing they're not. I'm hearing they're only gonna target their political enemies.
Cool.
Okay, yeah. So guys, here's the last piece of problem here, which is that if they start implementing a wildly, terribly unconstitutional thing like this, and then people rationally resist, then they're gonna go, aha, the violence we were looking for, the resistance we were looking for. That's it, you're all terrorists, and anyone who opposes the state will be locked up because freedom? So this is as un-American as it gets. If you're an American of principles, no matter where you are on the political spectrum, this is the thing you should be most worried about. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.